Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today, we're tackling something that I think we all experience pretty much every day.
Let me guess.
Okay, I'll give you a hint.
Right.
It's that feeling you get when a website takes forever to load, or when you get stuck on hold with customer service for like an hour.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Customer pain points. Ugh,
Yeah.
the worst.
Right. And it's funny because we deal with them all the time, but we don't always think about them strategically, you
Yeah.
know? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to unpack these customer pain points and see why they matter, not just for businesses, but for us too.
Sounds good to me.
And we're going to be pulling some insights from LearnXYZ-In, by the way.
Oh, yeah, they've got some great articles on this stuff.
Totally. In fact, if you want to learn more, be sure to check out their website. It's https://learnxyz.in.
I second that.
Okay, so let's get down to business. Customer pain points. It sounds kind of, I don't know, formal. What are we really talking about here?
Yeah, it's one of those businessy terms that can sound a little jargony, but basically it's anytime a customer has a negative experience with a product, a service, or even just a brand.
So it's not just like, oh, this product is bad. It's more nuanced than that.
Yeah, it's more about those moments of friction, like the product could be fine, but if the website is impossible to navigate or the checkout process is confusing, that's a pain point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or think about when you buy something online and then, bam, unexpected shipping costs hit you at checkout.
Ugh, I hate when that happens. It's like, come on, just tell me the price up front.
Exactly. That's a classic example of a customer pain point.
Okay, so we're all on the same page about what these pain points are.
Yeah.
But why should we care? Like, how does this affect me in my everyday life?
Well, for one thing, being aware of potential pain points can help you make better decisions.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Let's say you're trying to choose between two different online stores. If you know that one store has a reputation for really slow shipping times, that's a pain point you can factor into your decision.
Right. Instead of just picking the one with the cheapest price, I might be willing to pay a little extra for faster shipping.
Exactly. So understanding pain points can actually save you time, money, and frustration in the long run.
Now, that's a win in my book.
And it's not just about avoiding bad experiences. It can also help you find businesses that really go above and beyond to make things easy and enjoyable for their customers.
Like a company with amazing customer service or a website that's super user-friendly.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how this whole pain points thing is relevant to me, even if I'm not running a business. But I gotta ask, how do companies figure out what these pain points are in the first place?
Well, they have a few different tools in their arsenal. They can do things like customer surveys, analyze website traffic, monitor social media for complaints, and even just pay attention to customer feedback.
So they're kind of like detectives, trying to uncover these hidden sources of frustration.
That's a great way to put it. And the better they are at identifying and addressing these pain points, the more successful they'll be.
Right, because happy customers are more likely to come back for more.
Exactly. And they're more likely to tell their friends about their positive experiences.
So it's a win-win for everyone involved. The business gets loyal customers, and the customers get a better experience.
Exactly.
But, thinking about it, sometimes it feels like companies are deliberately creating pain points, like those hidden fees we were talking about earlier. What's up with that?
Well, that's a whole other can of worms. And it's something we'll definitely want to dig into more as we continue our deep dive today.
Ooh, sounds intriguing. I'm ready to unravel those mysteries.
Yeah.
But first, I think we need a little break.
Great.
We'll be back in a few minutes to dive even deeper into the world of customer pain points and explore how they connect to the decisions we make every day.
Don't go anywhere.
All right, we're back and ready to continue our deep dive into the world of customer pain points.
Yeah, let's pick up where we left off, talking about those sometimes less than transparent business practices.
Right. Like, why do some companies seem to make things so complicated?
Well, sometimes it's unintentional. Maybe they haven't really thought through the customer experience from start to finish.
Oh, okay. So it's not always some evil plot to frustrate us.
Not always, but sometimes, let's be honest, companies do use certain tactics that, that might not always be in the customer's best interest.
Like those sneaky hidden fees that pop up at the last minute.
Exactly. Or those super complicated return policies that make you jump through a million hoops.
Ugh, yeah. It's like they're trying to make it as difficult as possible to get your money back.
Sometimes it feels that way. But, it's not just about companies trying to pull a fast one on us. Sometimes we're actually our own worst enemies when it comes to making decisions.
Wait, what do you mean?
Our brains are wired with all sorts of biases that can cloud our judgment, even when we think we're being totally rational.
Biases, like what?
Well, there's confirmation bias, for example.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, it's this tendency we have to look for information that confirms our existing beliefs, even if it means ignoring evidence to the contrary.
Well, I do that all the time. Like when I'm researching a new gadget, I'll read all the positive reviews and totally skim over the negative ones.
Exactly. We all do it. We
Yeah.
want to believe that we've made the right decision, so we kind of filter out anything that challenges that belief.
And companies probably know this, right?
Oh, absolutely. They'll often highlight positive reviews and testimonials to play into our confirmation bias.
It's like they're manipulating us.
In a way they are, but it's not always intentional. It's just how marketing works.
Okay. So confirmation bias is one thing. What other biases do we need to watch out for?
Well, there's also emotional bias.
Oh, I think I know what you mean. Like when you buy something just because it's on sale, even though you don't really need it.
That's a perfect example. We make decisions based on how we're feeling in the moment, rather than thinking things through logically.
Guilty as charged. I've definitely made some impulse purchases I later regretted.
We've all been there. FOMO, or fear of missing out, is a big driver of emotional bias.
Yeah, that feeling of, I gotta have it now,
Yeah,
even if it's not the best deal or the right product for me.
exactly. We get caught up in the hype and make decisions we wouldn't normally make.
So knowing all this, how do we actually outsmart these biases and make better decisions? I mean, we can't just rewire our brains, can we?
Well, no, not exactly. But there are some strategies we can use to become more aware of our biases and make more intentional choices.
Okay, I'm all ears.
One thing that LearnXYZ-In recommends is quantifying your decisions.
Quantifying, what does that even mean?
Basically, it means putting things into numbers, like making a pros and cons list.
Oh, right, that old trick.
Yep. It sounds simple, but it can actually be really helpful. By listing out the potential benefits and drawbacks of each option, you can start to see the situation more objectively.
I guess that makes sense. What if the decision is really complicated? Like that more than just choosing between two different brands of cereal.
Well, even for complex decisions, breaking things down into smaller chunks can be helpful. You can assign weights to different factors based on how important they are to you.
Like if customer service is really important to me, I might give that factor a higher weight than price.
Exactly. So even though it's not a perfect science, quantifying your decisions can help you move beyond gut feelings and make choices that are more aligned with your values and goals.
I like that. It's like taking the emotion out of the equation and making a more rational decision.
Right. Another strategy they recommend is challenging your assumptions.
Oh, interesting. How do you do that?
Well, let's say you're thinking about buying a new car.
Okay, yeah. I've been thinking about that, actually.
So you've probably got a particular model in mind, right?
Yeah, I've been eyeing a specific SUV.
All right, so instead of just focusing on all the reasons why you think that SUV is great, try to actively look for reasons why it might not be the best choice for you.
Okay. So like, look for negative reviews or compare it to other cars in the same class.
Exactly. By forcing yourself to consider the opposite viewpoint, you might uncover some hidden biases or blind spots you weren't even aware of.
That's a really good point. It's like that saying, there are two sides to every story.
Right. And by considering both sides, you're more likely to make a decision that you won't regret later.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try that next time I'm making a big decision. Any other tips?
LearnXYZ-In also talks about the importance of using decision-making tools.
Like what?
Well, one example they give is decision trees. Have you ever used those?
I think I've seen them before. Aren't those like flow charts?
Yeah, kind of. They're a way to visually map out different options and potential outcomes.
So like, if this happens, then I'll do this. But if that happens, then I'll do that.
Exactly. It can be a really helpful way to break down complex decisions into smaller, more manageable steps.
I can see how that would be useful, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the choices.
Right. And it can help you think through different scenarios and anticipate potential problems before they arise.
Okay, that's a good point. So decision trees. Got it.
And of course, there are lots of other decision-making tools out there. Spreadsheets, online calculators, even just good old-fashioned pen and paper can be helpful.
As long as it helps you make a more informed decision, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of different strategies for making better decisions. But I'm curious, what about the people who are already really good at decision making? Like those super successful CEOs and entrepreneurs we always hear about. What's their secret?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to experience. They've made a lot of decisions, both good and bad, and they've learned from their mistakes.
So it's like anything else. The more you practice, the better you get.
Exactly. But, it's not just about having a lot of experience. There are also certain personality traits that can make someone a better decision maker.
Like what?
Well, successful decision makers tend to be very analytical. They're good at gathering information, weighing different options, and thinking through potential consequences.
Okay, that makes sense.
They're also often very decisive. They don't get bogged down by indecision or second-guessing themselves.
So they're confident in their choices.
Yes, but it's not just about being confident. They're also open to feedback and willing to change course if necessary.
So they're not afraid to admit when they're wrong.
Exactly. They see mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow.
That's a good perspective.
And it's not just about being analytical and decisive. Successful decision makers also tend to be very good communicators.
Oh, interesting. Why is that important?
Well, think about it. If you're making a decision that affects other people, you need to be able to explain your reasoning clearly and persuasively.
Right. You need to get buy-in from your team or your stakeholders.
Exactly. And good communication can also help to minimize conflict and build consensus.
Okay, that all makes sense. But it sounds like these are all qualities that some people are just born with. Like you're either a natural-born decision maker or you're not.
Well, I don't think that's entirely true. Sure, some people might have a natural predisposition for certain traits, but I think anyone can improve their decision-making skills with practice and the right tools.
That's like learning a new language or a musical instrument.
Yeah, exactly. It takes time and effort, but it's definitely achievable.
That's encouraging to hear. I mean, I'm not planning on becoming a CEO anytime soon, but I would like to be a little more confident and decisive in my everyday life.
And you can be. Just remember those strategies we talked about. Quantifying your decisions, challenging your assumptions, and using decision-making tools.
Right. And don't forget about those pesky biases.
Oh, yeah. Those can definitely trip us up. But the more aware we are of them, the better equipped we'll be to overcome them.
Okay, so it's not about being perfect. It's about being more mindful and intentional in our choices.
Exactly. And remember, even the best decision makers make mistakes sometimes. It's all part of the learning process.
Well said. It's almost like decision-making is a muscle you have to exercise.
That's a great analogy. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
So we've talked about pain points from the customer's perspective and how understanding them can help us make better choices.
Right.
But what about the businesses themselves? How can they use this whole pain point thing to their advantage?
Well, the first step is obviously identifying those pain points.
Right, like we were talking about earlier with the surveys and the feedback and all that.
Exactly. And once they know what those pain points are, they can start to address them.
So if customers are complaining about slow shipping times, they can invest in a better logistics system.
Exactly. Or if they're getting negative feedback about their website, they can redesign it to make it more user-friendly.
So it's not just about putting out fires. It's about proactively looking for ways to improve the customer experience.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about fixing problems. It's also about finding opportunities to delight customers.
Delight.
Yeah, like going above and beyond their expectations.
Oh, I see. Like surprising them with a free gift or offering a personalized discount.
Exactly. Those little touches can make a big difference in how customers feel about a brand.
And make them more likely to come back for more.
Exactly. It's all about building those relationships and creating loyal customers.
Okay, that makes sense. But there's got to be more to it than just, giving away free stuff.
Right. You can't just buy customer loyalty. It has to be genuine.
So how do companies create that kind of genuine connection with their customers?
Well, I think it starts with empathy, really understanding the customer's needs and perspectives.
Like putting yourself in their shoes.
Exactly. And then it's about being responsive to those needs, providing helpful support, addressing concerns promptly, and just generally making the customer feel valued.
So it's not just about transactions. It's about building relationships.
Exactly. And that's something that LearnXYZ-In really emphasizes in their articles. They talk about the importance of creating a customer-centric culture.
Oh, right. I remember reading about that.
Right.
So it's not just the customer service department's job to worry about customer happiness.
Right. It's everyone's responsibility. From the product designers to the marketers to the CEO, everyone needs to be thinking about the customer experience.
That's interesting. It's like a whole different way of thinking about business.
It is. But, it's not just good for customers. It's good for businesses, too.
How so?
Well, happy customers are more likely to spend money, they're more likely to recommend your business to others, and they're less likely to churn.
Churn.
Yeah, that's when customers stop doing business with you.
Oh, right. So basically, by focusing on customer happiness, businesses can actually improve their bottom line.
Exactly. It's a win-win for everyone involved.
Well, that's a pretty compelling argument.
Yeah.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from understanding customer pain points to exploring how companies can use them to improve the customer experience.
Yeah, it's been a great deep dive.
And a huge thank you to LearnXYZ-In for providing the insights that inspired this conversation. Be sure to check out their website at https://learnxyz.in for more great content on customer experience and decision-making.
They've got some great resources over there.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Next time you're interacting with a business, think about those pain points. Are they doing anything to address them? Are they going above and beyond to delight you?
And if you're running a business, think about how you can apply these principles to create a more customer-centric culture.
It's all about creating those win-win situations where everyone benefits. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insightful discussions. And be sure to check out LearnXYZ.in.
Until next time, keep learning.